Ladies and gentlemen, it's myself, Elian Kutsi, and today I'm in the beautiful Rovinj in Croatia with a spectacular backdrop to reveal a spectacular new car. It's a bit like something I've reviewed before, but it's all the more spectacular. It's the Ford Mach-E GT. The Mach-E GT, while it's very similar looking to the regular Mach-E, it has got some very visual differences, key differences to the front. For example, it has this lovely three-dimensional effect grille, which almost looks like it has depth to it in a sort of a honeycomb effect, which is a very nice feature. It also has these brand new alloys, so a special diamond cut additions specific to the Mach-E GT. It also comes in a 20-inch size as opposed to the 19-inch, which is on the regular Mach-E. So visually, it's a bit more aggressive, it's a bit more sleek in its feel and look, and trust me, it drives the way it looks, which is extremely fast and extremely aggressive. So ladies and gentlemen, it's myself, Elian Kutsi, and we're here in the beautiful area of Rovinj in Croatia to test out the Ford Mach-E, but the GT edition this time. You might recall that I recently tested the Mach-E and how much I loved that. I thought it was a pleasant surprise. I thought it was a special vehicle, the all-wheel drive version. But this one is the GT. This one is the one that they're championing, the one that is all about driving, all about performance, and is the most Mustang of Mustangs of this new electric edition car. So yeah, very excited to get behind the wheel. I've had about a couple of hours behind the wheel so far. I've been testing out on these really nice mountainous, windy roads in Croatia, and it's been an absolute joy. So one of the really interesting things about the Mach-E GT is its power. Now it has 800 Newton meters of torque, and that actually makes it 15% more powerful than the Ford GT supercar, which is remarkable when you think about it. Let that sink in for a moment. Okay, that's enough. And it has a 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.7 seconds. It's a very, very aggressively fast car. You feel it even in the active mode before you go in untamed mode, which is the raw, aggressive drive, unleashed. It's a track performance mode really, but you can use it on the roads. But there's been some subtle tweaks, and I'm actually speaking later to Matthias Thun, who's the chief program engineer for the Ford Mach-E in Europe. So he'll be giving us a bit more details of the specifics of the car, but I will touch on briefly a few of the little things that have changed. So for now, for example, they have increased the torque at the rear end of the car, so it's more balanced, so there's more power in the rear, even though it's still the all-wheel drive, but it gives you more power in the rear, giving it a bit more fun, a bit more feel through the corners, and a bit more aggression. It still has that instant torque, so you feel the torque through the wheels within 0.5 seconds of putting your foot down the pedal, which is incredible. It still has the one pedal drive actually, which is interesting, a mode that I don't feel I need to use in this car because of its aggressive power and speed. I feel much more comfortable using the brake to stop myself, especially if you're going at speed. They have this instant and yet gradual power, so if you can accelerate fast, you need to be able to brake equally fast, if not quicker. So this car, the brakes are up to speed. We'd tested them. I'd say intentionally, but somewhat not, but hey, we'll keep that under wraps between you and us. And yeah, spectacular. All I got to say so far is that it's everything that the Mach-E was, but if anything, more attuned to the person who wants to really, really drive and race, which is spectacular. I'm really privileged today to be sat with Matthias Thun, the Chief Program Engineer for Ford Mach-E in Europe. So we're just going to have a little drive here, and I'm going to ask him a couple of questions about the Mach-E, because who better to talk about it than the person actually involved in its creation. So Matthias, the first question I had is, obviously I've driven the Mach-E, I've done a review on the Mach-E, which I loved. What would you say was the key difference for you between the Mach-E and this new GT?
Besides the look that we can't see now, on the driving there's two things. It is the dynamics, so the chassis tune. It's a sporty tune. As we go in tight bends, yeah, showing it off. Tight bends right now. Yeah. So the dynamics is the real difference, and the acceleration power of this car. So you can really go from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.7 seconds, which is super fast. I mean, this is with the supercars. When you go like from 20 k's an hour, 50 miles an hour, and you really want to excel to 60, 80 miles an hour, that's then really the fun bit. You don't see or you don't feel the speed that you get.
You know what? I've actually driven one over. We are in Croatia, and I've driven one here to this venue, and I can testify to that. You don't really realise how fast you're going at all. It's just, it glides up to that speed.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Anyway, we're back.
Yeah.
That was a little spin with Matthias. Thank you for your time. Thank you for explaining to us a bit more about the car. Yeah, now it's my turn to get back behind the wheel and have a bit of fun myself.
Okay.
Maybe head back to the hotel. But yeah, no, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, an interesting feature that the Mach-E GT has is this mode called Untamed Plus. Now, what that is exactly, I'm yet to find out in terms of drive, but essentially it's similar to the Untamed mode, but it takes even more of the control off it. Things like the automatic lane assist and all that kind of safety features are switched off further, so you can go pretty much do anything you want to in the car. Now, that's pretty much recommended for track only. In fact, it's actually grayed out now. I can't actually click it, but there is so many features in the car. I mean, I spoke to Matthias, just the amount of software in there. I mean, he was involved in the development of the car, and he said he spends hours going through the different modes and features, trying to figure out everything that this car can do, because there's so many different options. When you look at also the infotainment system, and it's got the Bang & Olufsen system again, there's a lot of similarities, but I'd say the main difference, there are some visual differences on the outside as well, body styling. The wheels are now 20-inch rather than 19, so that they're larger. There's a different design available. I'm calling this one gold, and there's like a stealthy blue as well. I say stealthy, it's more like bright, in your face, slap you around the corner blue, that you can't miss me kind of blue. But it's a real famous Ford color for speed. I think it's a color they actually use on the ST cars, very similar to the ones they use in the ST and the RS back in the day. In fact, an interesting thing that Matthias told me regarding the sound in the car, because it has this propulsion sound you can activate when you are in the Untamed mode. And the propulsion sound is actually based on a system they actually developed for the ST to augment the sound. They actually record some engine noise, put it into this car, so essentially when you accelerate, the noise amplifies and changes in pitch with you, and then when you take your foot off the accelerator, it then disappears. So it kind of feels, again, like you were driving a petrol performance car. So they've done a lot of work on this, and the thing is, the best thing about the car is the hardest thing is to explain, which is the handling and the feel of it. Some cars, when they're electric, and they have this real sort of lightweight feel to the steering, and you don't really feel the drive. This car, you feel everything that the drive does. We go through the tight corners, you feel it, you don't feel like you're out of control. The seats as well, they're augmented, they hug you. They're sport seats, so you're always in the right position to take the car to the next position you need to get to. And I think all these little things add up to a massive difference in what is the Ford Mach-E GT. Right, okay, so summaries. It's really hard to summarize, really, because I think I've said everything that I kind of wanted to say already. But in short, I would say that this car does everything that it wants to achieve and does it well. Now, who's this car for? It's for the guys who are in the Ford Performance line. The seats are actually designed by Ford Performance, I forgot to mention. Team, so the guys who, are into the RS, the Focus RS, the Mustang Bullet, or if in the US, Shelby Mustang. It's for those kind of Ford owners, the GT owners, and they will not be disappointed. And I think that's the best thing I can say about it. It has the prancing horse on it. It hasn't got the horsepower, but it has got some power, which is like the horse. So all in all, I'll say well done Ford. Big thumbs up from me.